Shia was 9 years old when her father taught her that the world was not what it appeared to be. Not in a metaphorical sense, in the actual, concrete sense of things being hidden beneath things, of systems operating in the dark while the daylight world continued its careful pretense of normalcy. She learned this in their apartment in Arlington, Virginia, on a Tuesday evening in late September. The kind of evening where the light turns golden and harmless, where nothing seems to suggest that anything could ever go seriously wrong. Her father, Michael Chen, former field operative turned mid-level intelligence analyst, was in his office on the second floor, the room with the locked door that Shia was not supposed to enter without permission. She could hear him typing, the rhythm of it steady and obsessive. Type, pause, delete. Type, delete. He'd been like that for 3 months now, becoming more withdrawn, more careful. Her mother, Sarah, was downstairs making dinner, chicken and rice. The smell of it drifted through the house in waves. Garlic, ginger, the particular comfort of a meal made with precision and care. Her mother cooked the way her father worked, methodically with attention to detail, as if the outcome mattered in ways that went beyond simple sustenance.
Shia? Shia? Love? Can you set the table?
Okay, Mom.
It was mundane. It was exactly the kind of evening that Shia would later learn to treasure in a way that people who have not lost their ordinary evenings can never quite understand. She set out 3 plates, 3 napkins, 3 forks and knives arranged with the precision her mother had taught her, the knife blade facing inward, always. Her father came down as they were sitting. He looked tired. There was something in his eyes that Shia had learned to recognize. Not fear exactly, but something adjacent. The look of a man who knows something and wishes he didn't. "How was school?" he asked.
Fine. We did math. I like math.
"Good." He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Math is honest. Math doesn't lie to you." Her mother gave him a look, a particular kind of married look that conveyed both understanding and concern.
Michael, her mother said quietly, not at dinner.
"I know. I'm sorry." He squeezed Shia's shoulder. "You're going to be great at math. You know that? You have the right mind for it. Pattern recognition. You notice things other people miss." Shia didn't fully understand what he meant then. She was 9. She was still mostly innocent. She would not be innocent by the end of the week. It happened on Friday. Friday morning, her father came into her room while she was still half asleep. Outside, the neighborhood was beginning its daily routine. Cars in driveways, people heading to work, the ordinary choreography of suburban life. "Shia, wake up." His voice was quiet but urgent. She opened her eyes. Her father's face was very close to hers, and for the first time in her 9 years, she saw something in him that looked like fear. "I need you to listen carefully. Can you do that?"
Yes.
She sat up. "I need you to get up, get dressed, and come with me. Right now. Don't ask questions yet. Just trust me." Something in his voice made her comply without hesitation. She threw off her blanket and he handed her clothes. Jeans, a sweater, sneakers. "Get dressed." While she was changing, he went to her closet and removed a panel in the back wall that Shia had never noticed before. There was a small space behind it, barely large enough for a person to squeeze through. "I'm going to put you in here," he said. "Your mother is going downstairs to meet someone. There's going to be a conversation. You're going to stay very quiet. You won't make any sounds. You won't come out no matter what you hear. Do you understand me?"
Dad, what's happening?
"I'll explain later. Right now, I need you to be brave and trust me." She crawled into the space. It was dark and cramped, and it smelled like old wood and insulation. Her father pulled the panel closed behind her, and for a moment, there was only darkness and the sound of her own breathing. Then she heard voices downstairs. Her mother's voice, tense and strained. A man's voice she didn't recognize. Then another. Then another. At least 4 people moving through their house with purpose and precision.
"Where is he?" one of the men demanded.
I don't know, her mother said.
"We know he took the files."
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a sound, something like a struggle. Shia's hand went to her mouth. She wanted to call out, But her father's voice was still in her head. No matter what you hear, a shot, unmistakable, even to 9-year-old ears. Then another. Then silence. Shia sat in the darkness, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. She didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't make a sound, because her father had asked her to be brave. And if being brave meant sitting in the dark while something happened to her parents, then that's what she would do. The house was quiet. Voices murmured, low and professional. Footsteps moved through the rooms. A new voice. Secure the office. Find anything related to the project. Time stopped meaning anything. It could have been minutes or hours. Her legs went numb. Her breathing became shallow. Then different voices. Different urgency. New arrivals. We've got police inbound. 2 minutes. The men left. The house settled into silence, and Shia stayed in the darkness, waiting for someone to tell her it was safe to come out. The police came and went. Shia heard their voices measured and professional, the arrival of paramedics, the sound of a gurney being moved, the final terrible silence that meant they were too late. She stayed in the wall. Hours passed. Maybe it was only minutes. Time had become plastic, unreliable. Then a different knock. On her bedroom door. 3 quick raps.
Shia.
A man's voice, low and controlled. Your father sent me. My name is Marcus. You can come out now. She should have been terrified. Instead, she felt something that might have been relief or might have been resignation. She crawled out of the space and saw a man, older, with gray at his temples and a face that looked like it had been through hard things. Come on, he said gently. We need to go. He took her hand and led her downstairs. She saw blood. She saw her parents' bodies, covered now with white sheets. She saw police officers who tried not to look at her as they passed. Marcus didn't let her stop, didn't let her process, just kept moving, his hands steady around hers. Outside, a car was waiting, an unmarked sedan with the engine running. As they drove away from her house, Shia looked back once and saw the last place she would ever be a normal child disappearing behind her.
Scene 4. The Mentors.
The safe house was in the basement of a building that didn't officially exist. Shia would learn later that it was owned through shell companies within shell companies, purchased by people who no longer lived and paid for by money that moved through channels designed to be untraceable. But on that first day, it was just a concrete room with a cot, a chemical toilet, and walls that seemed to press inward. Marcus brought her a glass of water and a blanket. I'll be downstairs if you need anything. She didn't sleep. She sat on the cot and tried to process a world that had suddenly become incomprehensible. The tears flowed endlessly that night, drowning her in a sea of grief. Her small frame trembled, her eyes glued shut from crying. Exhaustion finally took her some time in the early morning, pulling her into fitful, reluctant sleep. When she finally woke, her eyes were literally stuck, crusted shut from the force of her crying. She had to pry them open with trembling fingers. She pried her eyes open to see that 3 people had come to greet her. Marcus had aged since the previous day, or perhaps it was just the weight of what had happened settling into his face. Beside him was a woman with steel gray hair and eyes that seemed to catalog everything they saw. And a third man, younger, with something almost spiritual in his bearing. Shia, Marcus said gently, these are people who knew your father, who worked with your father, who are going to help us understand what happened. The woman stepped forward.
My name is Dr. Iris Kessler. I was a colleague of your father's in intelligence work, a long time ago.
The younger man spoke quietly.
I'm Kai Rivers. I also knew your father. We served together in the field.
Shia looked at them all with dry tears and defeat in her eyes.
My parents are dead.
Yes,
Marcus said.
Is it because of something my father did?
her voice stammered, tears still threatening to spill. No, Marcus said. Your father didn't do anything wrong, but your father discovered something that powerful people didn't want him to know, or more accurately, didn't want him to share.
What did he discover?
The three exchanged a look, a moment of unspoken communication between people who had long practiced working in the spaces between words.
That's complicated, Iris said. And it's going to take us a long time to explain, but the short version is this. Your father found evidence of a system, a very large system, a system that operates in secret and has been operating in secret for a very long time. And when he started asking questions about that system, the people who benefit from its secrecy decided he was a threat.
What kind of system?
The kind that hides the truth about who really controls the world, Kai said softly. And more importantly, it hides the truth about what came before, about what's been erased.
Shia looked at each of them in turn.
Are you going to kill me too?
No, Marcus said. The people who killed your parents aren't going to let you be. They are always going to think that you know the location of information. Truthfully, you are probably being hunted right now, but it's going to be okay. We're going to train you. We're going to teach you how to survive. And eventually, we're going to teach you how to understand what your father understood. And then, when you're ready, we're going to teach you how to do something about it.
I'm 9 years old, Shia said.
I know, Marcus said, and by the time you're old enough to matter, you'll be ready. Scene 5, the first training. The training began the next day. Physical conditioning first. Marcus taught her that the body was a system, like mathematics. Push it in specific ways and it adapted. Challenge it and it grew. Shia was natural at it. Within months, she could run without tiring. Within a year, she could climb and jump and move with precision that surprised even Marcus. Her body became a tool, and she learned to respect it the way a craftsman respects his instruments. The psychological training was different. Iris taught her to compartmentalize, to put the grief and the fear and the rage into separate rooms and close the doors, not to suppress them forever, but to contain them, to access them when needed and seal them away when focus was required. Kai taught her pattern recognition. He would show her seemingly random collections of data, financial records, property transfers, organizational charts, and ask her to find the connections. Look deeper, he would say. The patterns are always there. Human beings are creatures of habit. Systems are creatures of mathematics. Find where they intersect, and you find the truth. By age 13, Shia was beginning to understand what her father had been trying to tell her that last Tuesday. The world was not what it appeared to be. There were systems operating beneath the visible systems. There were people working in the shadows, and the shadows were far more organized and permanent than the light. She still had nightmares about her parents, still had moments where the memory of that day threatened to overwhelm her, but mostly she had channeled the trauma into something else, a tool, a weapon, a drive to understand, and understanding, her mentors kept telling her, was the first step toward power. End of Act 1.